All right. So today,
Today.
first time ever in history, me and BJ are doing an episode just us.
Yeah.
We have done episodes where it's me, you, and Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously do 56 in with Tyler, which is amazing, by the way. I watch y'all's episodes like as a consumer, and I love them. I find myself laughing out loud at times of your episodes.
But it's also not like you haven't been involved in our
shenanigans,
in our trash talk either. So.
100%.
So you get it.
I get it. That's the best part. But this is the first opportunity that we have had an opportunity to sit down and talk about the things that we would have questions about with each other.
Yeah.
So thanks for doing it with me.
No, thank you.
So,
it's fun. So let's jump in.
Let's go.
How is life post-retirement?
First, overarching, it's amazing.
Okay.
Because of the reason I retired.
Okay.
And to give background, I retired with 17 plus years on because I did things backwards. I didn't have my son until I had been on the been on the job for that long. And when I had him, I thought, they always say your perspective changes when you have a kid. Everything's different. It truly changed me because the protection side of me was always geared towards law enforcement.
Yeah.
I was looking to protect other people out there because I was never I wasn't a victim. I didn't have this horrible life growing up, but I did know people who did. And so I did feel compelled to protect them. But once I had my son, it was hard for me to shift into still wanting to prioritize protecting other people and jeopardizing the fact that I may not come home to him. And so therefore I'm not protecting him. And me and my husband were really adamant of we wanted to be at home with our son because I wanted to make sure working 12-hour shifts because I was back on the road at that point. Yeah. That would have meant I was dropping my son off at probably 6 o'clock in the morning with somebody else. It probably would have been my family member, but he's going with someone else. He's going to be with them. Then I'm going to be at work for 12 hours if I get off on time. And then somebody else is going to pick him up from daycare because daycare is going to close in that time. So 14 days out of the month, he was going to probably be spending 20 hours with someone other than me and my husband.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, that means that the imprint in his foundation is being done by someone else. The morals and values that are being placed into his little mind are being put in place by someone else. Not intentionally, but by necessity. And I was not okay. I wanted to make sure foundationally that he had the morals and values that we wanted. We wanted to make sure that he believed in God, that he recognized what was the importance of family, that he felt tethered to something, because I think that's what a lot of our kids are missing nowadays. They don't feel tethered to something. And when you're lost, you're going to constantly be searching and reaching for something else. So for me, retirement, I had a retirement goal. So for the post-retirement was beautiful. I never have looked back one single day and thought, I wish I would have done it different. And that includes, like money was tighter because we cut my salary in half. I didn't start taking my retirement money or any of that stuff like that. So but it was still something that I look back, and now I have a son that family is very important. He believes in God. He's generally a sweet boy. He's a kid, so he tests the waters every now and then. He's got but he is a kid that people like to be around. He is a kid that understands the value of I have to work for stuff in order to get things. It's not, I don't feel like we are working very hard to make sure he doesn't feel lost in this world. Yeah. And we've been able to make sure that kind of was our goals and objectives. So retirement for me has been absolutely amazing. I absolutely loved what I did at the sheriff's office, though. Loved the camaraderie, obviously. Yeah. Loved the job that I did. Loved talking to people. Loved dealing with people in the crisis stage, helping people, the few that you could help, but dealing with people in their low moments. I loved all the parts of it when it came to that. I loved the other side. I did a lot of teaching. I loved that kind of thing, but it wasn't my identity. I made it a point to not make it who I was. And so I think that made retirement a easier transition for me. But I would say there's no part of, there's some parts where I will say, there are parts where I'm like, I'll be driving down the road and I see a cop going by with his lights on. I'm like, oh.
Wonder what they're going to.
Wonder what they're going to. I want to call somebody and ask questions, that kind of thing. Yeah. but it's not detrimental. I never felt the depression that some people get but I think it's because the focus was different. I think when a lot of people retire, they don't have a plan. And with lack of plan, you go from one day having people, you have your brotherhood, you have the calls for service, you have people that call you, hey man, can you do this? It's like you have that moving and shaking lifestyle that literally stops like a record with the needle being pulled off. And if you don't have a preparation plan to go where you're going to go after, it's tough. It's very tough.
You pointed out something that I've tried to maintain my whole career. How the job doesn't make me who I am.
Yes.
I am who I would be without the job.
Yeah.
And I've talked to people, and you get this a lot. There's two kinds of cops, right? There's this kind and this kind. And I think that's one of those things where it's like you got two kinds of cops, right? There's ones who the job makes them who they are, as it is their identity.
Yep.
And then you have the ones who that's not that. This is just a job that they're doing.
Yeah.
And it seems, just from my own personal experience and just like looking at people that I know that have retired, and we always hear the terrible stories of after life after law enforcement. How it doesn't work out for some people.
Yep.
I think that's probably one of the bigger things that people don't talk about early on in your career. I think I was lucky enough to kind of just figure it out for myself.
Yeah.
But I also had and I don't know if you know this guy. I mean, he's well retired by now. Dave Forrester. So he was an older deputy when I was not real young, and I never forget this conversation that I had with him. It was very eye-opening. When I was very young and just super excited, and and arrest everything moving and blah blah blah, make a name for yourself, whatever. And he goes, "Hey, young buck, let me."
Always good words when it starts with that.
Hey, young buck. He's like, "I just want you to know, man. He's like, I don't want to put out your fire." He's like, "But whether you arrest 5 or you arrest 500, your paycheck's gonna be the same."
Same.
And I was like,
don't get no bonuses.
I was like, dang. He's like, I see your fire and I like it. He's like, put this, essentially he was saying, put this into perspective.
Yeah.
And he's like, not everything is worth some of the young things that I was doing.
And we all did.
Like I said, I've been lucky way more than I've been good. Way more than I've been good.
We all have.
And I think that's what he was trying to say. It's like, hey, don't take any unnecessary risks. There's stuff like that. And so I was like, huh. Yeah, that kind of set in for me, and I was like a little bit more so. I was like, okay, I need to pick my spots
right
a little bit more. Not everything is worth a vehicle pursuit or a foot chase or So
there it is.
I was like, that was the first time that I started thinking a little bit more macro level, overarching, instead of like the being so tunnel vision and close sighted. I'm sorry. I'll never forget that.
That's a good. What's funny is I feel like that happens in every cop's career at some point, and it comes a lot of different ways. For me, I had been on the road for a little while, and like you said, we all do dumb stuff, and we are lucky that we survived. And in the moment, we don't even realize the luck that we just God said, oh, okay, you just made it. But you, at the time, you're young, you have that gusto, drove too fast, drove to stuff way faster than you should that didn't require me to drive that fast, ran into things and thought, oh my goodness, I just dodged a bullet, literally, things like that. And then you have that aha moment that happens. And for me, it wasn't somebody saying it. So it's nice to hear someone realize it without something being more pivotal. For me, there was a deputy that was working in our office, not even in our district, but he was driving very fast, got into a car crash, and he subsequently died. And people later on were like, oh, we don't even know why he was driving that fast. That was just crazy. The call he was going to wasn't necessary. And I'm thinking, you're right. Have you done it? Yep. I have driven to the call where there's some person that every time we keep getting calls over and over for this person. So this time we get the call, I'm like, I'm going to get there and put him in jail. So I'm driving 100 miles an hour to try to get there. Whether literally or figuratively 100 miles an hour, but too fast for conditions to try to get there. And I guarantee you there's not a deputy or police officer who's done this job that hasn't done that at least once in their career.
I'd venture to say more, at least 10. At least 10.
But you made it.
Yeah.
And so don't sit back then and point fingers at somebody who maybe didn't in that case. But that was my aha moment. I thought, it's definitely not worth it. And I will say from that day forward, I was like, if it wasn't a deputy screaming,
Nah.
I'm like, nah. They'll be all right.
Yeah.
No. That domestic that you're going to, they're going to be all right because this is not their first rodeo usually.
And you can't help it if you don't get there.
You can't. So take your time. And like, I was very limited at that point on what I would even turn my lights on for. I was like, yeah, I don't need it.
Yeah, no, we'll get there.
Yeah, I'm in Route Hillsboro. I'll be there.
I'll be there. I'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll get there when I get there.
So I think, when you were saying that, I'm thinking that was smart on your part to recognize young in your career just from somebody saying it to you without having to see something horrific, or like in that case, I didn't see it, but just the proximity of someone who wore the same uniform as us and did the same things that I did and didn't make it. I was like, okay, very well, God. Yeah. Noted.
Maybe I should have small adjustment.
I'm gonna calm down a little bit. Yeah. So, but I think the big thing, like you were saying, the two cops, there's the ones that this is everything. And we know even now today, and they're not all young cops. No. Some of them have been in this job for 30, 40 years doing this job. And you go, why?
Yeah, to the point they don't even know what life is like not being a cop. They can't remember it.
They don't. They have no idea. But like for us, after 33 years, you are essentially working for nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Because you cannot get any more retirement. And you would, if you retired, you're going to get 99% of your salary. Yeah. So you're working for that 1%?
No.
I'm not doing that.
No.
But I think it's so ingrained in them that they are afraid to say, I don't know what I look like outside of here. It's rough. It's funny because my husband being in law enforcement too, he retired. I retired. And then he about a year and a half later, he also retired. So sidebar, it was so beautiful because it was my kid had both of us home raising him. He thought that was very normal. One day he asked me, he said, he named one of his friends, why does his mom and dad go to work and not stay home with him? I was like, baby, this is not only rich people get to do this. We're not that, but we planned for this. And he's like, oh, that's wild. Like everybody should do that. I was like, everybody can't, it's not that easy to say that just everybody should. Yeah. But my husband retired and people were like, hey man, you going to be a reserve? He's like, no. What are you going to do once you retire? You going to work? No.
That's not what retirement means.
That's not what I worked for 33 years so that I don't have to work no more.
Yeah.
They were like, what are you going to do? He goes, hang out with my son.
Whatever I want.
Yeah. Go on vacation with my family. Now, fast forward, our kid is in school and he's running the parents on patrol. He's going to have lunch at school with him. That's his day. Yeah. Mowing we have 5 acres, so it takes him like 2 days to mow and trim and hedge. He loves it. But I think you have to have the mindset, one, that I'm a cop, but I'm a person.
Exactly.
Cop is a career. That's what I do.
I'm a person all the time.
But I'm a person that does this, that looks like this, that deals with these trials and tribulations, that has these people who actually love me. Because I hate to say this, in law enforcement, you have an officer get killed in the line of duty. There's a lot of pomp and circumstance to say goodbye. And then they reassign his car, they reassign his computer or her computer. Everything continues to tick because it has to. It's a business. And that's the reality.
That reminds me of a short story. So that, yes, that's true. So we've seen that, and I'll never forget this. I was in college and playing ball, Bethune Cookman, Daytona Beach, Florida. Nice. Shout out to Coach Alvin Wyatt. Right? So he said this, and for the people who know him and knew him, understand the voice I'm about to use, and he say, "Son," I said, "I want you to do this. Take a bucket of water, put your hand in that water, pull your hand out. As fast as that hole close up, that's how much I'm going to miss you." And I was like, dang, well, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cold, man." But that was the first time I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, because you see it in other aspects, right? Like, as you matriculate through your scholastic career, right? Especially in college, you're a freshman, you see the senior guys. Yeah. They graduate, they move on. And like, so now as you go through it, you're that thing. And I tell young guys, so listen, man, when you're not at work, things are still happening.
Yeah.
It's not just happening when you're at work. It's happening all the time. The office was here before you. It's going to be here long after you.
Yep.
don't make this your whole life. I was like, it's going to eat you up.
100%.
Going to eat you up. Going to eat you up.
Oh, I love that analogy. I love that analogy.
I was like, oh, that's pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's the point.
That's the
that's
point.
literally the point. And it's like, yeah.
And it has to, because when you retired, you want Bethune-Cookman just, well, we're closing up. BJ's gone.
We're done. Boom. That's it.
We did it all.
Yeah. It's like, nope. It's going to tell you, the machine going to move on without you.
It's going to move on.
And that's it.
And that when you were talking about the young guys with realizing that stuff happens when they're not there, wildness. I remember getting like messages from people who were off duty. Yeah. I'm like, even if you're working an off duty job, why is your computer on?
Yeah.
Like, what do you, and not to the point where you're watching like calls going out and sending, hey, I did not care that much, because when you pour all of you into something, you're bound to be disappointed at some point. Mm-hmm. That's the reality. You are bound to disappointment, because as human beings and the things that we build in life, because we are imperfect, it's going to be imperfect. Yeah. And, you you look at things and it's like, well, yeah, you don't like this. Then you start going, well, this needs to be changed. And when things don't move or change the way you think it should, now all of a sudden, because all of you is poured into there, you become bitter and angry. And all the deputies that you've seen those deputies too. So I am grateful and thankful for the time that I had at the sheriff's office. Loved the job that I did. Loved the opportunities that it provided me. Were there things that I didn't like that happened? Absolutely. But what I did there led me to the next phase in life. And for the phase of post-retirement, it has been beautiful, because it was built off the back of my job at the sheriff's office. My job, not my life.
Good job. Well, actually, let's segue into something real quick, because it reminded me of something. Since we're talking about life post-retirement, what would you, now knowing what you know now, in totality of just where you are in life and career-wise, what would you tell your day one self?
Day one me, I would tell myself that absolutely strive for doing more. I wanted to get promoted. There were things that I wanted to achieve that I did not do before I left the sheriff's office. And as a result, while in the moment, I did get mad. I did get slighted at times. I never turned bitter, but I definitely got angry and had angry emotions that got associated with things I was doing. And sometimes I think that probably made me miss the beauty of what was happening right in front of me, because I was so focused on what I wanted to get, and it wasn't happening, and this is why, and da 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 da. So I would tell day one me, absolutely strive for what it is that you want to achieve, but do remember that this is a man-made construct, and it's going to be imperfect. They're not going to do things the way that you necessarily like. The way that you think may not be the perfect way to do it either. Yeah. And be aware of what you do, what you have grasped that's right in front of you, and use those opportunities, and be able to pivot a lot faster than I did. I look back at my career and I wish that at some point I would have said, okay, maybe promotion is something I want to strive for, but in the meantime, I'm going to go down this path, because there's other things like I would have loved to be certified to be a polygrapher, because number one, I thought it was very interesting in later life, but number two, it creates that next phase of life, post-opportunity for life after the sheriff's office, or did something like, I never liked to do traffic stuff, but maybe doing like traffic homicide or something that would have led or lent to more of a post career after the sheriff's office, knowing now that I retired pretty early. I retired at 40. Most people don't retire out that early. And so you do need to have a secondary, like now that my boy is in school, I do need a secondary career, just because I need something in order to keep my mind focused and sharp. And I like to be challenged. So I would definitely say the one thing would be focus on the goals that you want to achieve, the going higher and doing those kind of things, but be available to pivot and focus on what's in front of you. When I was assigned for a short period to our training unit, and I missed the opportunity in that moment to realize how much training really gratified me. I now in afterlife, where I did become an instructor, and that's what I used to do in my off time. Instead of working off-duty jobs, I would teach. I realized, man, that is what it's about. And it grew more and more every time I did teach. And subsequently, when I worked at the college, I became a manager over the academies, and I got the opportunity to not only teach in the classrooms, but also teach instructors on how to instruct. teach them how to get through to people, teach them to have a level of zest for classes that people don't normally like to teach. Like I loved teaching communications. Mm-hmm. I remember in the academy when I got taught communications, it was, all right, guys, we got to go through this communications block because this is what FDLE requires. So let's read. But there is so much to teach these kids that are now becoming cops on how to communicate with people because they live in bubbles and they don't know how to talk to people and they don't know what to say when you're dealing with someone who's in a crisis. They've never, not heard the word no, because nowadays, my son has this, so don't tell him no because it makes him upset. So now you take this kid and now you've turned him into a cop and nobody ever taught him to communicate because they thought, oh, you know how to talk. So my opportunities was to now teach the instructors who are going to instruct how to find a way to get through to these individuals. And I found so much, I just found enjoyment in making that ripple effect. It was like touching into, a lake and watching the ripples go all the way across, because it's not just me teaching. Now I'm teaching people who are now going to teach other people and so on and so forth. So I wish that I would have recognized those kind of things early in my career and not poured so much into, I want to get promoted, I want to get promoted, I want to get promoted, and more focused on, I want to get promoted, but there's these other things that can parallel promotion at the same time. And I would have focused on that.
Yeah. Well, as you talk about some of the things you've done in your career and talking to your day one self, as a minority, right? Do you think, looking back on it, is there a way you would have moved through your career differently?
I don't think I would have moved through my career differently. I do know that there were things, because being a minority, that impacted. Because, like when I got hired, I went through the academy at a time where you had to pay for your own way through the academy. So I didn't have a job when I got at the academy. I had to foot the whole bill for the academy. I had to buy equipment for the academy that was specific to just being a cop. So if you didn't get a job, it's useless. Yeah. And then after I graduated the academy, which at the time, it was only about 4 months long, I went to the academy from 8 to 5. And because I had all these bills now that accompanied that, and I still had my regular bills, I would work every day from 6 to midnight. And then on Saturdays, I would work a 10-hour shift so that I could have 40 hours total by the end of the week and not cut my paycheck, essentially. When I graduated, my hope was that I would have a job. I did not. And as I started applying at agencies, the obstacle that I ran in at most of them was they wanted to spread out their minority pool. So if they already had a Black female in one class, they didn't want to put me in there because they may not have one for the next one. Yeah. So it was like I sat, even though that I was a good candidate and I'm being told all this stuff, it was one of those things where we got to wait until we can make sure we have at least one Black female for every class. So it was delayed for like a year for me to get hired on. And I know like several of people that were in my class were hired on before we ever graduated. And there was nothing I didn't have anything in my file. I never smoked weed. I never had been arrested. I didn't have I had my degree. Like there wasn't my 2-year degree at the time, but there wasn't anything that precluded me from getting the job. And I was told by someone that this is what it was. Oh. So I think that was one thing. And then later on, promotion was the same thing. Small pool of applicants. You only have so many Blacks, and you only have, on top of that, so many Black females. And so it's like, if they're already pushing one, we're not going to push you yet. We'll push you next time. So I don't think I would have moved differently. It would have been nice. I don't even know if it would have been nice, because to say like I would have known that earlier, I don't think it would have been. It just sucked. Yeah. Because I would rather pit me against everybody. Yeah. And then pick me whenever.
Yeah, and the chips fall where they may.
And they fall where they may. Yeah. And if you end up with a class that doesn't have this, or you end up with a promotional cycle that doesn't have this, I don't care. That's the way I would have. But I definitely would say I felt that. And once I found it out, that was one of those things that was kind of discouraging. I don't think it would have changed the way I moved. I definitely say, though, there is a difference in how people look at you as a minority in law enforcement, both in the law enforcement world and the public at large. It's definitely, you're looked at differently all the way around, and I definitely think at times microscoped on how people, well, this person did that, and because they looked like me, now it's like, but I'm not as dumb as them. So I said that out loud. Sorry. So that was the thing. But to say that me personally, I am absolutely happy that I can look myself in the mirror with everything that I did when I was at the sheriff's office, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with everything that I did, knowing that I think at times it did keep me from promotion. It did keep me from being looked at as somebody that, well, she's gonna question. She's gonna buck the system if she doesn't feel like what's happening is right. Because I think as law enforcement officers, we are charged with doing that, even if it's within our own ranks.
I'd agree with that.
So
yeah,
that's. You laughed at a point, and I know why.
yeah.
So I would have to ask you the first question you asked me. You aren't retired yet, but no. Day one, BJ, what would you have told him?
Ooh, knowing what I know now, day one me. I think one of the things I would tell myself is to do it while you can, when you can.
What do you mean?
Right. So if you have the opportunity to do something, take the opportunity, because it might not always be there.
Yeah.
Right. So people will say, not just career-wise too, just in life, like, oh, I'll get to that later, or there's time for me to go do this. Or my thing is, if you have the interest in it and the opportunity to do it, I think you should do it. Like I said, that window may not be, and sometimes, people look at doors opening and closing, right?
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it's a little bit different because doors have handles, right? So somebody has to either, you can open it or somebody else has to open it for you. There's going to be some tension on the other side of the door, right?
Right.
So I look at opportunities more as windows, right?
Yeah.
So they're either open or they're not.
Right.
So I think if the opportunity presents itself and you have the ability to do it, and you can, I think you should. So I would have said, so like how, for example, I got a school resource, I didn't put in for that. I just got a call from the colonel's office one day. It was like, hey, come down and meet with the colonel.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Never comfortable.
Right. So it's a colonel that no longer works for the office anymore. It's like, hey, what do you think about school resource? So this is a point. I'm so young in my career, I didn't even really know what it was. I didn't even know that was a squad at all. Just, all I knew was patrol. You can be a property detective or you're a supervisor. That's really all I knew about the office, right? Because I was too young to do anything else.
Yeah.
So like, hey, what do you know? I think it's great. And this is amazing. I think it's awesome.
You're asking, sir. It's awesome.
Great. You start there, next pay period. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Very well.
But looking at that, like, had I not, well, I would have obviously not said no, right? But if that opportunity wasn't presented to me, I wouldn't have gone that route. Had the opportunity to do some other things career-wise. So I would say to my younger self, and again, other things that I probably didn't put in for because I was like, oh, how's that going to look, promotion-wise? How's this going to affect what else I have going on? I think, if it interests you and you have the opportunity to do it, go do it. You can always, as I say, you can always go back to patrol.
Always.
You can always go back to patrol.
100.
So that's what I would tell myself. I would also tell myself to, don't compromise. Would be the big one. Right? Don't compromise who you are.
Okay.
So there's times when I've seen it happen to people, and fortunately for me, I haven't come across that where you kind of have to make a decision to compromise who you are, your values as a person. But I would say to always remain here because you have to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And I've never had to stand on the back of anyone else or to stand on top of anyone else to feel tall.
Yeah.
I've always felt tall enough where my feet are on the ground.
Ooh.
Right. So I would say continue to do that. That's a big thing because you see it happen, and then you see how that transpires for other people.
Yeah.
I want to be able to look myself in the mirror at night and be okay with where I'm at and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be another big, big thing. As someone, I guess, as I'm pretty much halfway through, the 25 year, I would say another I would tell myself is plan far out. Like you said, plan that retirement. Look ahead. Obviously. Take advantage of today, but obviously plan for tomorrow. Yeah. Because at some point, you're not going to be doing this for forever. So looking out ahead, retirement-wise, post-career-wise, is obviously something I'm telling myself now, but I would definitely say start sooner. Start sooner. Yeah. Start sooner.
Yeah. Day one, not too soon.
Yeah. Day one is the perfect time to start planning far, far out in advance.
Yeah.
So those 3 things I would consistently tell myself. Yeah. For sure.
I think that's huge because quite often this is a job where people get into it very young, in their 20s. It's a young man's game, so it should be that way. And your mindset is not 25 years seems like a long time. And then all of a sudden you wake up and it's not. And like planning for that is huge because I know people who waited till the last minute and they got year 15. Oh, I need to start putting away something for retirement. Wait, you 15. Need to start. I mean, okay, right. You know, and life gets in the way. You know, like my sister always says, life be lifing. Life be lifing. So it's like all of a sudden at year 15, you're too late. And that's now you end up being that person who 33 years in.
No, 30, that's how you get to 33 years in. That's how you get to 33 years in, for sure.
Not planning. Yeah. Not planning. And something you said just then too about, it pivotal when you say I've never had to stand on the back of somebody to feel tall. Yeah. And I think young people in this business sometimes see it. They see people stand on people's back and go, yeah, but look how successful he is. Look where he's at. And they don't have the benefit of future fortune telling of seeing them 10 years from now from when they've done that. Because now the minute you do that, when you're not standing with your feet on the ground, you owe somebody. You owe somebody.
You're not stable.
You're not. And at some point the ground gets shaky. Then what? So
no what?
God, that was when you said that, I was like, ooh, I gotta write that one down. That's a good one.
Telling you that is. And like I said, I think it's just from watching it, and being involved in some things where I felt like that I've been on the receiving end of it, and being like, yeah, I don't think I want that for myself. Yeah. At the end of the day,
I think it's watching it, but I also think that you have to have, you know, like when I was talking about earlier, foundationally pouring into my son. I think you have to have a foundation that makes you recognize that, and I would venture to say the way you were reared, that probably had an impact on you being able to observe and see, ooh, I don't want to do that. You know, somebody taught you that this is what a man does. Yeah. That's what this is what a woman does. And you can't stand on the back of somebody else.
You can't do it.
And be a man or a woman.
It's funny. Me and Ty were talking about this on one of our last episodes. And I said, the older I get, the more cliches start to make sense. And
I loved it.
I'm like, yeah. So one that my parents always said, it didn't make sense at the time, but as I've gained some life experience, it makes more sense, right? My aunt would always tell me, hey, sometimes you're going to have to do more to get the same. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? Yeah. What does that even mean? It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. It's like, it'll make sense in time, right? And I think that could be parallel, but as a minority in, race-wise, you can make it. I'm sure that has parallels to plenty other different, plenty of things, right? Yep. So as a cliche, as a generality, yeah. But as I've seen it in my personal life, and in my career-wise, and in my career journey, I'm like,
yes,
I get it. I understand, and then, yep. But at the same time, knowing that ahead of time, not that it makes it feel any better.
No,
but at least I'm aware. And I know.
It doesn't. Yeah. In the moment, it doesn't feel better.
No.
But it's like you realize that cutting corners, and that goes across the board. If you cut corners, you're going to have to pay the price of cutting corners. It always comes with a price.
That's always going to come.
It does, Doing those things, cutting corners, doing, skipping over steps, always comes with a price.
Always comes back.
If you do more, then you don't have to pay. You're paying the price on the front end.
Yeah.
It's like credit. You can either pay and save your money and pay for everything in cash, or you can pay in credit and you're going to pay somebody interest. That's how it goes.
That's how it is.
And sometimes you may feel like, I got a 0%. For how long?
Exactly.
How long does 0% last?
30 days?
Because nobody gives you 0% for life.
Nothing's free.
Nothing is free.
Nothing's free. Nothing's free.
Yeah, that episode about the cliches, that was another one I listened to, and I was like, oh, so true.
Yeah.
And the beauty is this is how life is supposed to go. The older people, they do give us the cliches. They put those little seeds in the sand, And at the time, you're like, I don't understand this. And then one day you turn around, you're like, oh, I got a whole garden behind me.
You're like, oh,
how'd that happen?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is that one seed that said this. I remember now. Yep. And it's useful. So very cool.
As a pastor would say, you'll get that one in the parking lot.
Yes, sir.
I'm like, oh, dang. Yeah.
That's what he was talking about.
Okay. I got it now.
I love it. And those are the hard lessons, unfortunately. Like you do have to, as parents, give your kids. And then then once you become young adults, those things do circle back. And when you do make a mistake, let's say you do make that mistake and you stand on the back of somebody and the ground gets shaky, then you got to learn from it. You can't keep trying to cut the corners. Yeah. It just gets worse. So I like it.
Yeah.
So question, wait, you had some more for me, didn't you?
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to move to something else that I was interested in talking to you about. You are one of the few people that I know who is a bomb tech. I think it's insane. Let's go on record with saying that. And then the other side of it is like, I don't know many people that are Black that even have any interest in wanting to like build bombs, blow stuff up, take bombs apart. Like, I mean, like, let's be real. You look at stereotypes, people who blow stuff up are not typically.
They don't look like this.
They don't look like this.
Yeah.
So when I found out that you were on the bomb team, I was like, what? Why? So that's my first question. Why bomb team? Because I was a specialty team person, but, and I guess if I look at it, I was a hostage negotiator. It's talking to people. So it's I think the vibe and people who fit in there could be just about anybody, but I feel like the bomb tech is it was wild to me. So tell me.
Yeah. So growing up, I've always had an interest and fascination in one, music, and two, also science.
Okay.
Right? I love all things science. Physics is my top one. Chemistry, it's not interesting. Not my best part of science, right?
Fair.
Right. So at the time in my career, and that's why I said if you can, you should take the opportunity.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I got into this. At the time, before the trials even came up, I was at a transitional point in life. So the girl I was dating seriously at the time, I was actually in ATF. I was actually in the ATF like hiring process.
Oh.
So I actually had the conditional offer
really
already. So me thinking, foresight, right? Hey, was considering getting married at this point in time. So I'm like, you know what? The way the ATF works is, hey, you're new. You might not necessarily get the region that you want. Probably You're gonna get what you get.
Right.
So at the time, I was like, it'd be a big ask for me to take this on, move this person with me away from both of our families, and also try to start our own family with, I'm going to be working all the time, traveling, whatever. So this is the thought that I had, at the time.
Right.
So I'm in that process debating that, and bomb team. So I had that. I was actually looking at going back to get my bachelor's in physics.
Okay.
So again, stuff outside the office, right? So I'd already had my master's degree. It's like, I kind of want to do something more science that interests me a little bit more than just your typical, everyday, my normal job.
Right.
Bomb team thing comes around. I'm like, this is interesting. This interests me. I like that. And talked to a couple of guys who were actually already on the team, figured out what it was about, and I was like, this could scratch my itch for something different outside of just your normal statutes and laws and traffic and arresting people. So I was like, you know what? That's what I told myself. I say, if I make this team, I'll stay here.
Oh.
I'll stay. Like this, if I make it, they select me.
That's a life decision.
That's my sign to be like, hey, this is where I should be and this is what I should be doing.
Right.
So I'm going to put everything I got into this. I've already put everything I got into that, put everything I got into this, and wherever the chips fall, that's where they fall.
Right.
So that was my initial, how I got in there. So when I made it, I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing.
That's what we're doing.
So it does, I will say it does scratch my itch. So once I finally got on the team, finally figured out there's way more stuff involved in this than I thought.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not just, there's so many different disciplines. There's hazmat, there's rad nuke stuff, there's just your typical, military ordnance, there's your IEDs, there's your homemade stuff, so there's a whole plethora of different things. There's robotics, there's all kinds of stuff, right?
Wow.
So again, it's so much and enough to kind of like I said, scratch that itch of my science stuff. And then once you finally get through school, so we basically saw the FBI deems who gets a bomb team and who doesn't,
right?
And how big the teams are and whatnot, right? So all my outside agency certifications are FBI certifications because it's the bomb team stuff is FBI certified.
I see.
So they determine who gets to go, who gets a team, who does this, who goes to school, when you go to school.
Wow.
So even just being on the team, I just happened to be lucky and not have to wait more than a year.
Right.
With 3 of us made the team together, and we all got to go to school together because we had a Super Bowl coming up in the next year. So they were like, hey, we want to make sure these guys are ready.
Got it.
Because Super Bowl's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's a big regional team. Tampa Bay has a regional team, right? So it's us, TPD, State Fire Marshal, in our surrounding counties. So it's not just Hillsborough County, it's Hillsborough and then the 5 surrounding counties as well.
They all contribute to the team?
No, we're responsible for that.
Oh.
Yeah, so the Tampa Bay region is us 5 surrounding counties. Hillsborough, Tampa Bay, TPD has a bomb team. We're responsible. So if it's, like Pasco County, in the county, we go to that. If it's Pinellas.
But they have no contributing members on the team. Wow.
No.
Did not know that.
So we get a lot of that interagency connection. Yeah. A lot of my classes and schools and certifications are FBI, ATF, that kind of stuff. So it's enough to be like, okay, I'm doing the things that I want to be doing outside of just your normal, traffic stops and domestics and that kind of stuff. More recently, taking on I'm going through the ELD diver thing.
Wild.
So I was like, you know what?
So it wasn't enough for you to have bombs. You're like, can we mix deep water and bombs?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. And this goes back to what I was saying before. It's like, if you have the ability to do it and you can do it.
That's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
When am I
reality.
When am I ever going to have the chance to do all this?
Like I joke around with saying like the whole, why would you be on the bomb team? Black people don't do that. But what a crazy, it's really interesting because how many people know anything about that kind of thing?
Very few.
Very few. And I can tell you, like I was getting ready to ask you, I watch movies about bombs and they're like, cut the red wire.
No,
that's cut the black wire. But that's not at all probably
100% movie stuff. I can't even, the Hurt Locker is another one where they're like, is that real? I'm like, that is not how it goes at all. First of all, good luck trying to run in that suit. And also, if you're doing bombs, why would you have a handgun in your pocket? Well, that's not. No, it's not how it goes.
So that's not how it goes. Okay.
That's not how it goes.
Very well. See, in my head, I picture Armageddon. Like you are going to the moon. You have a bomb that now you got to like disarm because somebody put the bomb there and it wasn't supposed to be. Your light's not good, so you can't tell if it's a black wire or a green wire. So you just close your eyes and clip.
Exactly. Electronics is another one. Because that is a scenario in some of the training, right?
Really?
Where you're essentially in the dark. Dark.
What?
Yep, you're essentially in the dark. All you have is like very low light. And then people are like, what color wire? I was like, what if they're all the same color?
Oh, so the wires are not different colors.
Sometimes they're all the same color.
Good to know, guys.
Right? So,
good to know.
So then what, right? So it's nice problem solving on that end as opposed to just figuring out what statute I'm going to arrest somebody for.
100%. That's so. And what I was going to ask you is, okay, so it's not like the movies. Got it. From what you can tell us, what is like? You get that bomb call out. What does it look like?
So I would say the most basic thing we get is a lot of military munitions because we're in Florida, right?
Oh.
So we have an Air Force base that's pretty close to us.
Yeah.
And also a lot of stuff will sometimes wash up on the beach. A lot of stuff you get is, you call them like trash runs, right? So it's, my grandfather was, retired military. He had, he brought some stuff back from,
someplace he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, exactly, right? Got his hands on some stuff, and this, this hand grenade's been sitting in his office for the last 30 years.
Everybody was cool with that.
Right? And then they're like, ooh, we don't know what to do with this. So I'm like, oh, then call us. I'm like, okay, we'll come out, we'll take a look at it. Not saying that it doesn't happen, but the IED stuff can happen, does happen from time to time, but it's not as, I would say it's not as much as you think.
I see. That's comforting to know.
And even though you'll come through and there's a lot of different ways we can mitigate some stuff. Obviously stuff you can't really talk about, but
right.
But there's different ways to try to mitigate things and try to keep yourself as safe as possible.
Got it.
People are like, well, what happens if you don't cut the wrong thing? I was like, this is me, right? Me personally, this is how I look at it.
This is the part why I'm like, nope. Go on.
This is how I look at it, right? Only 2 things can happen. Right? You go down on this device, whatever. Only 2 things happen. I either get it right, or I get it wrong.
Right. The getting it wrong is the part I have.
If I get it wrong, I'm probably not going to know.
Okay.
2, if I get it wrong, the check clears. If I get it right, check still clears. Either way, the check clears. So we're good. That, to me, that takes a lot of stress.
I get it. I loved that one time you said, if I get it wrong, it's instantly not my problem anymore.
Not my problem.
That's wild.
It's not my problem. Hopefully I gave enough information for the next guy. Right? So, I mean, I know it sounds a little bit morbid. I'm making light of it. I was like, but you kind of have to, because it is so high stress.
Yeah.
That, like,
if you walked in and been like, what if I hit the wrong one?
What if I it's like,
it's like the movies. You're sweating and stressing.
Yeah.
Like,
for me, I'm like, no. Like, no. Put it this way. I get more anxiety walking up to a window on a traffic stop than I do dealing with explosives.
That's insane. But the variables are so controlled.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
You can control the variables to an extent. To an extent, right?
Yeah.
I was like, but at least I know 95% of the time
what you're dealing with.
I know what that is, and I know what it's supposed to do. Right. So this comes back to like some of the science, the physics and engineering kind of stuff that interests me. I know what this does. 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 This is how this should probably work. If I don't do this, I should be all right.
Right.
I should be all right. When you're dealing with human beings, that stuff gives me the most anxiety, because you never know what's happening.
Humans are unpredictable.
Right? And typically like, oh, it's just a traffic stop. I was like, yeah. I was like, but here's the thing. The ties in to a bomb thing, Oklahoma City bombing.
Yes.
Right. There's this thing, unfortunately, very horrific, very tragic, right? So if people haven't watched a documentary about it or know the story.
Crazy.
Once he leaves there, he gets pulled over by a state trooper.
I did hear that.
He gets pulled over by a state trooper, matches the bolo on the thing. The trooper had no idea that, the trooper didn't even know that the attacks had happened.
Oh, wow.
He was going off a bolo for something completely different. This guy, the car, I think, came back stolen or whatever.
Right.
Stops the guy, and the trooper's so squared away, doing his thing or whatever. And Timothy McVeigh, when they interviewed him, they're like, well, how come you didn't try to run or whatever? He's like, oh, I would have killed that trooper if I had the opportunity, but he never gave me the opportunity to.
Wow.
Right? So I'm like, that goes back to, you don't know what other people's intentions are.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just trying to stop this guy for a seatbelt, because I get off in 30 minutes. I'm just trying to get one more stat.
Yeah.
I don't know he just killed 50 people.
No.
And he's got, lifetime amount of drugs in his trunk, and, a kidnapped chihuahua in the backseat. Like, he's going to kill me to get away with that.
That's a variable that you have no control.
Idea, right? So I'm like, to me, that's way more stressful.
I can get that.
Than doing anything else. So that's how I guess, rationalize it in my brain.
That's, to me, like I said, very fascinating. Immensely proud that you took the opportunity when it came to you, because I think a lot of people, the fear of it a lot of times would keep them from trying something like that. But it could be something that you could find very interesting and very fulfilling. And it goes back to what I was saying, talk about post sheriff's office.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the opportunities that are there for teaching and for consulting and for just kind of keeping that part of your brain engaged is just absolutely amazing. So I learned something, because not all the wires can be the same color, guys.
Yeah.
Look out for that.
Sometimes there's no wires at all.
Wait. Okay. We got to talk offline about that, because this could go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So I would ask you, this is something that when I thought about, I was talking earlier about like being in law enforcement, being a minority in law enforcement. I know what it's like to be a female minority in law enforcement, but I feel like there's a definite distinction when you're talking about in the minority world as to how the perception of the world is for Black female versus what the perception of the world is for a Black male. I feel like it is incredibly different. In many cases, much harder. The things that you kind of have to encounter and deal with being in law enforcement, how have you felt being a Black male in law enforcement versus both in the law enforcement community and the outside world perception?
So there is a saying.
Yeah.
Right. And the saying goes back, you're two Black for the uniform, two blue for the brothers. Right. So there's like an in-between.
Yeah.
There, right. Yeah. So, if
you know, you know.
You know, right? So and then you get a little bit of that on both ends, right?
Yeah.
There's people who probably have issue with the fact that you are a black male in law enforcement, but my pushback would be, my retort would be, so there's no representation for us at all? Right?
There you go.
I was like, so there's nothing?
There you go.
You're just one person, you can't do enough. I was like, but if I don't do anything,
then what?
Then nothing happens.
Correct.
Right? So at least I'm taking it on and trying, right? And I'll never fault somebody for trying to do anything, right? And then I always retort to them. I was like, you think that I don't know that there's people who work with me or who on the blue side that don't like me because I'm black?
Exactly.
I'm not oblivious to that.
I'm not dumb.
I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. I'm aware of it. Yeah. Right. So you have that on both ends. But that's why I say it comes back to knowing who you are. This job not making me who I am.
Correct.
It's just something that I am who I am. This is just something that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm secure in who I am as a person.
Right.
And again, it goes back to, I don't need to stand on other people to feel tall. I feel tall enough right where my feet are planted on the ground.
Yeah.
In either scenario.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't feel shame on one side or the other side for doing what I'm doing.
Right.
The only time I find it, I wouldn't necessarily say problematic. It's more so that it stands out. I do notice. I notice it more on the bump side. It's a lot more, it stands out a lot more.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously we live in Florida. Right. So it is very mixed. There's I think, maybe if I was up north or, in the deep south or Midwest or whatever, right. Just as a black male in law enforcement in general, that would stand out.
Right.
But we're a very diverse community. Hillsborough County is very, very diverse. Right. So you're not going to get as much of,
why are you at my house?
Right. Right. So you're not going to get it that much. I haven't personally experienced it that much on just the law enforcement part of it.
Right.
When I do the bump stuff, that's where it is glaring to me. And I don't know if I talked to Ty about this on a different pod, but I said I was in, I almost said special classes, right? But like honors classes, like whatever, right? Yeah. Growing up. Yeah. So even in this diverse community, until I got to like sophomore, junior year of high school, right? I was like one of maybe, if not two, maybe like the only black kid in some of my classes. Yep. Even in this diverse area. Yeah. So it's like, it's not, I've experienced it before, but like when I'm doing the bump stuff, it might be, I'm going to some classes and I'm like, I know y'all can't see me, but I'm kind of looking around like, hey, I'm kind of,
it's just me.
It's just me out here.
Just me out here.
Just me out here. And I think, as a matter of fact, and
so that for perspective, when you go to your classes, how many people are in these bomb classes? Because it's usually going to be FBI, so it's coming across the whole country, right?
Yeah, so there'll be our ATF, so it's a national class. So I'll break down the numbers for you guys. There's only about 4,000 bomb techs in the nation.
Oh, wow.
The whole country.
That's very promising, though, to know that there's only 4,000 people in the whole country that can build bombs.
Exactly. The big spread of how big the country is. There's only 4,000 certified, bomb techs. Right. Out of that, how many are, I don't know the demographics of this, right? But how many, one, women, two, minorities of a different race or whatever? Right. In my initial class, I was the only black guy. Yeah. And I think there was one female. Yeah. Oh, I think she was a white female. So it's like, out of that whole thing, and again, it's not necessarily, and this is where it kind of goes to, representation. I was like, well, you can only have representation in things that you're trying to do. Correct. Right. Correct. So if nobody's doing it, you're right. There's no representation because we can only pick of what we got. Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's I'm not doing it because of. No, you did it because it interests me. But then I'm like, well, damn. No, none of y'all think this is cool except for me. I will say I think it's cool, but I'm scared to do it. Well, right? So I was like, y'all don't want to get down on this? No? I definitely don't want to dive in the ocean with sharks and build bombs. That seems absolutely outrageous. So that is, the diving thing is way outside my comfort. It's not something that I ever thought that I would. I'm comfortable in the water. I'm guaranteeing you're the only black guy doing that. It's guaranteed. That I don't know of any other ones that I'm aware of. Because they're not. Yeah, not saying that it's not happening, but I am. I'm unaware. It's like, I could be like Carl Bashir, cookie. You know what though? Like you said though, you have to have a pool of applicants before you can say, oh, they're not picking. Yeah.
You can't do that. And that when you said earlier about, being in law enforcement and, well, why are you doing this? For years, we did not incorporate ourselves in law enforcement and complained, why on earth are they making policies that are not reflective of the problems that minorities are having, Black people are having? How do you expect people who don't have your experiences, who don't look like you, to then make policy that's going to benefit you and the issues and concerns that you have? They haven't lived. Yeah. They don't have lived experience, number one, even if they have the best intentions.
Yeah.
I look and there's a lot of people who will say, oh my gosh, I think this is so awful, but they don't look like me. So for me, I'm like, I don't care about that. Yeah, that's not my plight. They're trying to be on, my side, quote unquote, but it's just the fact they don't have the lived experience. So that was one of the big reasons I became a law enforcement officer, because how can I complain about things not being done right? Why things are happening like this? What is going on when I'm not even there to give perspective? If you can't sit at the table, then you can't complain about what they are serving up.
There we go.
And so I feel like I said, I think being a Black male in law enforcement versus a Black female is incredibly different plights, different things that you're going to encounter. I think that there are different stigmas and stereotypes that come with the two different roles, essentially. But that one is universal in the respect that we have to encourage our kids to get involved in this world in order to make things different.
100%.
And through that encouragement, reminding them, don't stand on the back of nobody else. Make sure that you make your voice heard. You might experience backlash from that, but you still got to do it. Yep. Yes, you're one person, but one person that does a little, another person that does a little, it's going to make a difference. And then when you look at the bomb world, again, if it is something that interests you, don't look at the fact of oh, well, there's only, BJ, you're the only bomb tech that's diving underwater. He's the only one who looks like him that did it. Yeah. So encourage your kids to do it, I think that is very super admirable. I ain't doing it, but super admirable.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, the representation, small story. And I know you know this.
Uh-oh.
This goes back to the minorities law enforcement thing, right? So, as you know, you go to the academy, you get your placement before you finish. You kind of know, they know where they're going to send you, right?
Right.
So they come in, I think there was 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 Black guys in my academy, right? So they're like, oh, look, but obviously at the time they're trying to, if you live on this side of the county, maybe they'll put you on the side, whatever, right? So I lived on the east side of the county, northeast side. And I was like, I'm going to District 1. They're like, oh, you going to Bravo. I'm like, what?
What?
What does that mean?
What is that?
How do you know? I'm like, trust me, you going to Bravo. Like, okay. I don't even know what that is. But
don't know what it means.
All right. I was like, how come I can't go to Alpha?
Yeah.
Brother, you're going to Bravo.
You're going to Bravo.
You're going to Bravo. And then I'm like, all right.
Okay.
Get out there. I went to Bravo.
Yeah. Bravo 4.
I went to Bravo.
Bravo 4, show me around.
So I'm like, all right, cool. But not realizing, now again, for people who don't know, that area is an area that I grew up in and I was familiar with anyway. I went to high school in that area.
Yeah.
I played baseball in that area, Little League in that area, so I know the area.
Right.
Right? I'm like, so my thing was, I grew up with it. I don't want to work over there because I know too many people. I don't want to be over there. Right? For the sake of the story, we'll just say Bravo is the more minority side of the district. Is. The Alpha side is the more stereotypical white side of 100% of the district.
Yeah.
Right? So you go to Bravo, I'm like, so I started looking around, I was like, how come all the Black guys in Bravo?
Why is that?
And whatever. And I'm like, so at the beginning I was a little offended. I'm like, well, you think I can't work over in the white side, but or whatever? Like, no. But it took me a while to understand, and this is what did it for me. Slide 50th.
Yeah.
Right? The snacks. If you work over there, it's like,
what I'm talking about.
You know. Right? On the weekends, they'd have a block party, a cookout, do whatever, right? Sometimes we get a phone call. They'd be like, there's 50 people outside, and the music's loud, and yada, 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 right? So I go over there, and I'm like,
it's fine.
Ain't nothing going on over here. It's a Friday night. It's a Friday afternoon in the summertime.
Right.
Oh, nothing's happening. There's nothing nefarious going on.
No.
Nothing happening whatsoever, right? But I started to realize, oh, I'm familiar with this.
Yeah.
I understand what's happening here.
Correct.
Had I not, if I'm Todd from the other side of town and I come over here and there's 50 minorities outside doing whatever that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with what's happening.
Right.
Area-wise, I might look at this differently.
Right. I might communicate with them differently.
Communicate with this differently. Right. So I'm like, oh,
that's why.
This is why you're in Bravo, because you need the representation and the understanding of what's happening.
Yeah.
Culturally in this area.
And I think it's great to teach that person that doesn't have that background, but it is not good. And it happens a lot of times where they will just put these individuals into those situations with little training. This person that grew up around people that don't look like this, who culturally act very different than what they're used to, is going to right away create anxiety for them.
Yep.
And as a result, anxiety can sometimes translate to anger. It can translate to bad decision making. It can translate to saying things that are not, they don't even have to be offensive, but are inappropriate. And so therefore, now you have a situation that escalates that wasn't a situation. It was nothing. It was like, no, Hillsborough, it's fine. It's no big deal.
And the way I handle it, I drive over there. I don't even get out of the car sometimes.
No.
I'm like, hey, who's throwing the barbecue? Oh, so hey, man.
What time?
Listen, I'm not trying to ruin your party or your weekend. Just understand this. Starting to get some phone calls. But they keep calling, doing whatever. I'm gonna have to come out here again, and that's fine. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep calling. We're gonna keep coming to the point where we're gonna have to shut this down or do whatever.
Right.
I don't want that. Y'all could wrap it up maybe in 30, 40 minutes. Don't let it go off too late. It's perfectly fine.
It's sad because you look at the people who don't have the training, who don't have the life experience, and get thrown into those situations and then subsequently make bad decisions. One of the things I've always said is, on a whole, law enforcement has the mentality to do good. There's a small percentage, a very small, just like the human race, of people who are just inherently bad people who wear the badge. They are there, though. More often than not, the videos and the things that you see on social media, on the news, is a cop put in a situation that they don't understand. They lack whatever the communication skills in order to de-escalate the situation, and it goes to a place that they can't control anymore,
or you can't backtrack from,
or you can't back out of.
Yep.
And I always say it's similarly, if you put a dog on a chain and he never interacts with other dogs or people, if a person or another dog comes up to them, they're going to bite. It's fear that causes the reaction.
Yep.
And in many cases, cops that are fearful will have the a scared cop.
Nothing more dangerous.
Nothing more dangerous than that. And you put them in the situations where you take the guy who grew up in the middle of, I don't know, throwing out a state in the middle of Idaho, where he lived in a neighborhood where there was all white people. And now he moves to Florida to become a cop, and you put him at Sly and 50th. That's going to be a problem. Not because he's an awful person, but because he has no idea the cultural difference that he is about to encounter. And when he gets that call where it's a loud party and there's people, he's going to do something a lot of times because I feel like I have to do something. So now you have a situation where somebody walks into somebody's party and turns their radio off. That's a problem.
Yeah.
And it's a problem across all forms, but it's also culturally, that's a big problem because there's a level of disrespect that comes across differently to different cultures.
Yeah.
So I look, and you look at that, and at first you're like, why can't I be? But then you're thankful for the fact that these people now get to interact with someone who wears a uniform that looks like them, and that starts to build the trust in the community.
Yeah, that's what
it really does. So I think we've been at it for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll take a break. We'll save the rest for the next one.
I appreciate this. Right. This was a good one.
That was good.
I learned a lot about BJ.
There we go.
Thank you.